Leslie's still trying. She just sent me a text and she's having trouble getting on.
Lauren Newman.
Who are we missing, Cindy?
I think it's Leslie.
Hey, Chris, is everybody that's on the call identified?
There's some phone numbers that I don't recognize, and I do not see the digits to. So there are people who called in, but I do not have names.
Oh, okay. We'll just wait a minute before we allow to move on. Wait for Leslie to join. She's trying frantically, she says, to get on. So. For the minute's sake, do we need to list all the visitors here tonight?
It would be nice to have on record.
Well, if you're a visitor, you want to start telling us your name?
Angela Texhorn.
Marilyn Lassage.
Tracy Schweitzer. Kathy Garrison.
Mindy Story.
Sherry Kraft.
Marvin Witt.
We also have Charla Lacey, and Charla, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, as well as Mary Hawker, whose microphones are not working.
Linda Pennock's also here with me. See, Leslie made it.
Yeah, I'm here.
Neil Motley is here.
Anybody else? Okay, let's go ahead and move on with approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the meetings as read?
I move to approve the minutes.
We have a second.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor from the committee, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Okay, motion passes. Minutes are approved for the last meeting. Why don't we move into the public comment? Tonight, as we allow people to talk, reminder they're only allowed to talk for 2 minutes, please, so we can get this meeting over with in a timely fashion. Who would like to start first? No comments from the public? Well, then we will move on.
Doug,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I put it in chat. I don't know if you're recognizing or not.
Doug, you're Lynn, I assume, not Robert, right?
Correct.
Lynn would like you to please briefly present the three options. Typically, just for meeting protocol within the county, public opinion is usually expressed at the beginning of a meeting, much like a commissioner's hearing. And in those 2 minutes, that's where public comment is allowed. And then the board meets and can pick up your questions if you want during the board meeting. But once public comment closes, the meeting is solely between the board members, or the committee members in this case. So Doug, if you elect to, you could present those now, but it isn't necessarily, if you want to retain it for just committee discussion, that's up to you.
Well, we can present, we've put out to the full group and anybody that has interest has seen the three proposals that we've kind of come up with that we feel are the best options for currently in the situation we're in. The online virtual part of the sale, that's option one, where we just have the kids send pictures and do it that way. I know you've all read the stuff. The other part is the BEC Event Center. The problem there is only limited to 150 people. And I feel that we have an animal welfare issue with that facility, not being able to care for the animals properly. That's my take on that one. And then we have Centennial Livestock. The problem there I see is we have to have two sales. We have to have one on Wednesday and one on Friday for the beef. We're still able to separate buyers' requests to go to private processors. As many as we have lost innovative foods. So we're down a few processed animals, but we still have the rest of them in place and ready to take animals. So, I mean, it's more the public comment, what we want to hear, what people want. You all know what the options were. So let's get on with the public comment.
I'm happy to start.
Okay.
So thank you very much, all of you who worked on putting this together for us. I recognize the three possibilities, so thank you for reviewing those for us. As I know there has been an additional discussion going on regarding a premium sale in which the buyers purchase the exhibitor only, not the animal. So it's really just a donation to the exhibitor. And I feel like that if that was a possibility that the committee wanted to look at, it could be done in any of those three venues. So the venue piece is a different question than that premium sale. The premium sale would, by not selling the animals, would get rid of all the logistics of holding, moving, staging, delivering animals, any welfare issues, all of that would be eliminated by a premium sale. So I feel like that is a plausible option within all of them. Given the three, my preferred would be at the BEC, just because I feel there's so much strength in the in-person auction and the energy that comes with that. And that really meets our buyers' needs best and supports our kids the best. The outside virtual company, and I think Leslie said it best. She said, why not support Centennial if they have an online and in-person offer to us both? Why would we go with an outside one? So I clearly appreciate that from Centennial's standpoint. But Centennial really had two options, right? One was to go with the normal sales, or in fact to hold a private sale for Larimer County Fair. And I think that would far better meet our needs and the needs of our kids if we held a private sale there. Granted, there would be some costs, but the sale committee has some funds. The commissioners have asked, are there additional costs needed that they could add into? And in fact, Chris, I think on one of the commissioner calls, you said, there are some funds for the fair that we may be able to look at to support the 4-H event. So I think that those costs could be offset easily on an in-person sale. So I think it's the other thing to note is that the state and county both recognize 175 at multiple events within the same venue. So 175 could be spectators, and 175 could be exhibitors, and 175 could be out at trailers, et cetera. So I think the number problem that we originally had with the 50 and the 175 total is no longer an issue based on current state and county guidance. That waiver process would need to be filled out. My guess is the sale committee has not asked for a waiver yet, so we would have to look at that. The last thing I'll say is I really would love to get some buyer input, whether it's the top 10 or any number of buyers, and how they feel about champions and premium sales and the different venues.
Okay. Jim Rice wanted to talk before he said he had somewhere to go. So let's see if we can get him on real quick.
If I could, Doug, just one comment to clarify on the attendance in the Budweiser Event Center. The very specific direction we have gotten from the Larimer County Health Department, and it's all I have that I can go by, is 175 people on the campus maximum, period. Not 175 in different sections of the building, not 175 each in different sections of the campus, 175 total. Now, we did expect to hear the count go up to 500 at the beginning of July and see the guidance around that. But based on the governor's announcement today that he is closing bars and nightclubs and is worried about the increasing infection rate, I sincerely doubt we will see those changes in the next few days. But as far as Larimer County Health is concerned, we are limited absolutely to 175 people on campus in total at this point.
Chris, I'll be happy to send you the Larimer County page that says differently than that. I spoke with them today and it is posted on their website.
Please send it along because that is not the direction I've gotten from Tom Gonzalez, the director.
Okay. They adopted what the state presented to the fairs and shows group on 6/19.
Again, I appreciate it. Send it along and I'll try and get clarification from them. But as of a day or so ago from Jason and the public health department, 175 was our cap. We're allowed to do groups, like multiple groups of 50 or 40 or whatever the number is, that as long as they don't add up to more than 175 around areas in the building, and each group needed its own facilities. But as we understand the direction from them 2 days ago, 175 was our cap. I know that conflicts with the fireworks that are going on and everything else, but that's what they've told us to work with in terms of our variance.
I'll forward to this whole group.
Okay, let's give Jim Rice a chance.
Was Jim able to get back in? He was having problems with his mic.
No, it says it won't let him back in. He just texted me and said, it says that he's not welcome in the meeting. So I told him to try logging back on again, and he said he's been trying and it won't let him in.
I don't know of a cap on the people in it.
I don't either.
And I know we've been in meetings with more than this, so I wish I had an explanation.
Let me try to call him.
Can he call someone and maybe they could put it on speakerphone and just hold it up to the thing and it'll go over?
Yeah, let me call Jim.
He can just call in. He doesn't need to be on the video portion. Do we have anybody else that wants to speak?
Okay, so Jim is trying to call in and the PIN number is not working either. So I have him on speakerphone. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Hold on. All right, go ahead. Can you guys hear it?
No.
Hold on, Jim. Nobody can see you. We can just hear you, but nobody else can hear you. Okay. Hold on one sec.
Hey, Stephanie, maybe have Jim try and call in again. I literally just called into the meeting and unmuted myself on my phone. So it allowed me in. Have them try, make sure the number's right. It should be 414-909-5449. 475-734-024.
There he is.
Okay, maybe he got on. There he is.
There's Jim. Go ahead, Jim. Need to unmute yourself.
There you are.
You're muted, Jim.
You have to unmute yourself. It's in the bottom menu bar.
Can you hear me now on the phone?
There we go.
I don't know what happened.
That's not going to work.
Hello?
Jim, you got to turn off your computer speaker.
Is that better? Hello?
Yes, you're good, Jim.
Oh, okay. I don't know what's been discussed and what hasn't. I've had a hard time getting logged in there. I apologize. But I just have a few things I'd like to say about a possible premium sale, and that's where you would sell the youth and maybe not the animals. And we wouldn't have to worry about the buyback program with self-declared weights. I don't know how that would work for sure. Going to the Packers, we wouldn't have to worry about getting the animals to the Packers. You could still do add-ons, and maybe some of these kids, they could go on to show those animals at another show or a competitive show instead of the display or the parade that's going to take place at our county fair. And they could still go on to sell their animals at CLA, when they're done with them. That's about all I have to say about that. I have a few questions that I'd like to be addressed if possible. And I don't know if the sale committee has applied for a waiver yet to even do a sale. If it's Budweiser Event Center, Centennial Livestock, if it's at a different facility. I don't know if they've applied for a waiver. I don't know how long it takes a waiver to be accepted or denied. I'm not sure, and Chris could answer this, I'm not for sure that the fair has even applied for a waiver yet for the county fair. And then how would the kids be slotted to sell in the different scenarios that you guys listed? Would it be by last name again? Would it be, from seniors to juniors, years in 4-H? I just have some, insight on that. And if anybody, so my understanding from speaking with Carrie and Brittany, that the superintendents are the ones that made the decision not to, have a grand or reserve grand champions. And so I didn't know if any of the superintendents on this committee have reached out to, say, even the top 20 buyers to see how they felt about purchasing or adding on to the youth or the youth animals in this scenario. And I think that's about all I have.
Jim, the superintendents did not make the decision to not have champions or reserve champions. That was not a call for any volunteers to make.
That was not any of my volunteering or my decision either. So I don't know where you're getting your information, but that is false.
Well, I got my information from the extension office, from Carrie and from Brittany. Even just this morning, they said the superintendents are the ones that made that decision.
I'm on this call, Jim.
Are either one of them on this phone call or meeting?
Yeah, this is Brittany. I'll clarify that. I said that superintendents provided input, but that the superintendents did not make the decision, that all the decisions about fair were made from a group decision between our office, the ranch, the county commissioner, the fair board. And those were how those decisions were made, but input was gathered from the superintendents. They did not make that decision.
Thank you, Brittany.
Any other questions, Jim?
No, those are just the questions that I would like addressed, please.
Jim, I can address, this is Chris, I can address the variances. They have not been submitted yet. We're waiting on guidance on the 2 outdoor rings from the state as to whether or not we'll be able to use them. So the variances for the fair are waiting on that. We'll do the livestock one as well after this meeting. The typical approval on them has been about a week, a little bit less on the ones we have done. So they're fairly quick about it.
Thank you. I appreciate the insight there.
Okay, your
And
other
I think the only other question that I had asked to be addressed is if how you were going to slot, in the order of the animals being sold.
Well, there's going to be 2 sales. The goats, sheep, and pigs will sell on Wednesday. We have 2 options. We can either do it on our own on Tuesday and have our own very own sale, but the commercial buyers will not be there. And so we have a real chance of no sales. And then they'll have to be taken home and brought back another time or something else. That's the reason that we discussed about doing it, incorporating it into the regular sale on Wednesday. So the commercial buyers will be there to pick up any animals that need to be sold for market price. And then the beef will sell on Friday, is because that's when all the beef sell there. And the commercial buyers will be there and they will be sold, not turned back. As is for the slot, when the kids come, we're going to work them in as we can with the sale. We haven't discussed that completely with him yet. We need to decide on numbers first, see how many numbers we're going to have. And once we decide if that's where we're really going, that's when some of those decisions will be made.
Perfect. I appreciate you guys addressing the questions.
Hey, Doug, this is Tracy
Hey.
Slicer. So are you guys just anticipating that we're going to have it at Centennial Livestock, or is it still open for discussion? Because it kind of just sounded with the information that you gave that there are certain days that we are ready to go with sales options.
No, I didn't say that. I said, if we go there, those are the options that we have. We can do our own sale, or we can incorporate it with him, with his sale on Wednesday and Friday.
If
We have a
did our
vote, we're
own-
gonna, that's,
And if we did our
our
own
own
sale,
sale would be on. Our own sale would be on Tuesday. We'd have to rent the whole facility to do that, and it would cost us about $4,000 to $5,000.
Okay.
But it would still be at Centennial. But the problem with that is our packers won't be able to take the animals until Thursday. And so we're gonna have to figure out, we're gonna have to pick the animals up, take them someplace else, hold them, deliver them to the packers on Thursday and Friday. That's one of the options, one of the problems we have with this whole thing.
So if the beef don't sell until Friday, they'd have to wait until the following week. Is my understanding that correct, Doug?
They'd have to wait till the following Monday to be going to JBS. Yes.
but if we
And
did
our
it at
private packers,
Uh-huh.
packers, we'd have to work that out with them. I don't know if that's even a possibility yet. Because they go in on Friday also.
So is the Cruz family, they're fine with leaving the animals there, for a couple days, or would the animals have to
No.
go back and forth?
No, the animals have to leave within 24 hours of the sale.
Okay.
But if we did it at the BEC, it would just follow the same as previous years.
There's no place to hold the animals at the BEC, no place for water, no place to take care of them. Who's going to take care of them? So that's one problem we've got with the BEC.
Okay.
None of these options are perfect. Not one of them, I can say that's the best one. We have the 3 that we think the group has got together and come up with the options that we've tried to work through which have the least problems. The premium sale, we've looked at that hard. We still have to figure out, we still have a bunch of kids that are not going to have a place to go with their animals. And that's a common problem at the fair. There's a lot of kids that don't plan ahead. There's no packers that they've lined up. There's no buyers they've lined up. That's part of the, the problem we have with our sale, trying to help the kids market these animals.
Hey, Doug.
Yep.
I kind of maybe see it that if we do the sale at Centennial, that it might be a little bit of a hybrid of kind of the premium sale and the auction, in the respect of the add-ons could be in a sense sort of like a premium sale. And what I fully expect, if we do choose to have the sale at Centennial, that then the sale committee, or portion of us, are going to go to work and start soliciting our buyers and getting them to contribute to the add-ons if they don't feel like going to the Centennial Livestock Auction and sitting around all day, because I know that's a burden and a lot of people don't want to sit around all day. So in a sense, I feel like the Centennial auction is a hybrid of our regular auction and a premium sale, given the option that we have with the add-ons. So I think for me, it kind of solves the problem of those two issues where we could have a little bit of both. The kids have the opportunity to get rid of their animals, and also we as a sale committee can go and solicit those buyers to go and spend a bunch of money on the add-ons and try and make up for the difference between market price and what a normal sale would bring. That's the way I see it.
We also have the opportunity, we have a lot of sponsors that sponsor the sale that have said, will we still sponsor your sale? Can we send our money to the kids rather than, purchasing whatever photographics or, the Facebook Live or whatever we do. So that would be one option we also will have to give back to the children, is sponsorship money.
The other thing that that goes along with that is there is going to be a commission that these kids are going to be charged. And even though it's per animal, it's not a lot of money. I absolutely 100% know that we can go out and find a sponsor to cover everybody's commission. And kind of just doing some rough math, I think it's going to equate to about $3,500 if all the animals sell that we anticipate selling. And I think it would be pretty easy to find a sponsor for that.
Doug and Leslie, this is Chris. I'm sorry to interrupt, but just for a second, two things. One, if you're starting to discuss as a committee, you should probably close public comment formally. And it's fine if you don't want to yet, that's okay. But on a note of the commission piece, if you cannot find a sponsor for that, and I'm confident you can, but in the event that you cannot, the fair/ranch will cover that commission. So the kids are not charged commission. That was discussed with the commissioner yesterday morning.
So there we go. There we go. We got it covered.
So yeah, we were still answering a few questions from the public. That's what we were trying to do. So if there's any more questions, please ask.
Yep.
Doug, I have one other question too. Is there a limit that we have that we're able to bring into Centennial Livestock Auction, as far as, I know that there's not a ton of seating in there. So what is the capacity for buyers to come in?
He said he could accommodate, he had 200 people in there not too long ago, but he said that he would encourage people, if they're not buyers, not to be there. And we're also going to encourage people to bid online. So that's we'll see how the numbers, once we get farther in the conversation with him, but he thinks he can accommodate whatever we need to get done.
One of the ideas that we had as a committee to sort of alleviate the issue with the long hours of sitting around waiting for someone to sell is to have a sale committee member being at the sale, which most of us are going to have to be there for the duration of the sale anyway, doing Facebook Live updates with TJ Rice is getting ready to sell this, whatever, sorry, Jim, I'm just using TJ as an example. Whatever 4-H kid is going to be up in 5 minutes. This group of goats, 4-H goats, is going to be up in 5 minutes. So, and our buyers, we will try and educate them that we'll be doing the Facebook Live updates so that they know when to get online to maybe start bidding, so they have an idea what's happening at the sale if they're not there.
And that is something Leslie, the ranch, again, can help you out with. We are doing a lot of that during the fair this year, so we do have people and staff very familiar with that who can help.
Okay, cool.
And also, we got to also remember, we're not going to allow kids just to go in the ring with their animals because of a time constraint, and trying to incorporate this with the other buyers and part of the sale. So that's another thing to bring up.
Have
This is
we
Angela
reached out
Tuxworth.
to?
Sorry. Just a question on the add-ons. If we do Centennial, what will that look like? How do people call in and add on to a certain person's account?
Just as
Or do
we've
we know?
always done it. It would be exactly how we've always done it. They would call a certain number of people, the committee members, and do their add-ons. And that could be done during, before, after the sale.
I would
That-
just
and
ask
that-
that if there's a way that we can look at doing that to make it more easy for the public, because the easier that we make it online for them to just, put it in their credit card information, or, the easier we make it on them. Personally had a lot of success trying to get them to call in and do it before, where they're, most people are like, hey, can I just do it online? Just a thought to make it, the more we can make it easy for people to do that, I think we'd have a better turnout.
Okay, we can look at something like that. One thing that I do want to bring up, the add-on money will come through Larimer County and be paid to the kids, not in the Centennial check. That'll be outside of Centennial's business.
Okay, that makes sense.
And the Centennial will pay within a week, right, Doug?
Centennial pay within a week.
Hey, Doug, this is Jim Rice again. Have we reached out to the top 10 or even 20 buyers to see what their thoughts are on this situation?
Not all of them, but some of them, yes.
Okay.
We want, several of the ones I've talked to wanted more answers than I had to give them. And so I was
get it.
hoping we could get some more answers ourselves before we call the rest of them.
Okay, and I think back to the Centennial thing, I think reading part of this, it says that the buyers would have to register a week in advance. Is that correct?
Yeah, we'd start working on getting them registered here right away.
Okay.
There's a lot of tentacles to this thing going to Centennial. It's not cut and dry. We're going to have a lot of work from our volunteers, from the committee members, and putting this together. There's a lot to do to make this happen at any place that we go.
Are we? I totally agree with that. The other thing is, I think some of the larger buyers, they're invoiced. They don't usually pay right away. Are we going to be able to handle that situation with Centennial?
We're going to talk to each individual buyer about that and try to deal with it individually.
Perfect.
We have a few buyers that just like to wait 60 days to pay us, and that's not going to be acceptable this year. And I think if we work with them and talk to them about it, they'll understand that.
Absolutely.
Any other comments from the public? Okay, why don't we close the public comment then and move on to our old business of discussing the three options. Is there any discussion that we want to bring forward to the executive committee?
I have a question. If we use a Centennial Livestock option, say Mountain Vet wants to put $1,500 at each of our girls, and they want that to be the starting bid. Is there a possibility that so our kids, contact people and say, hey, would you like to give us a starting bid? Could they put that in? That's the lowest it goes, and they say, okay, Mountain Vet has said that they will start this bid at $1,500. I mean, is there a possibility that could happen?
There's a possibility, but I don't know until I talk to Centennial about that, because we haven't had that talk yet about anything like that.
Okay.
Are you talking maybe, Carrie, kind of like a pre-sale almost?
Yeah, I mean, if we could open it up into where people could go in to maybe have a picture of that kid, maybe somehow we get parents to take a picture with their animal, you know, their kids in their animal, and they can go in and they can say, look, this kid has nothing. Let's start this kid off at 1,500. Let's start this kid off at 300. You know, and then that when that animal comes out, it comes out at that, and maybe our kids will be part of making their sales successful by also going out or not going out maybe because of COVID, but calling or reaching out to people they know and letting them know what's going on, explaining it, and maybe they could start getting their bids a little beforehand. I don't know. We'd have to kind of discuss how that would all work, but it's just been a thought in my head.
I think that's something we could discuss with the Centennial and see if he can say, I've got an opening bid for this much money. I don't think that would be a problem, in my opinion, but we'll have to talk to him about it too.
If we have the ear tag numbers associated with it and they already have a floor price, then yeah, I feel like that's something they probably dealt with before.
Because something he's going to do is he's going to introduce his kid and say, this is the Larimer County kid, and give the kid's name, you know, here's his goat, and we're going to sell this kid's goat. And he could, you know, possibly, I think he would be fine if he'd say, but I have an opening bid of $1,500 for this goat. And that may be the only bid he gets, but that we could possibly do that. It's here's something that I can call and ask him. Is there any other questions from the group?
Just one. How many buyers do we typically have that actually purchase, not registered buyers, but how many buyers do we typically have make a purchase?
I think it's about 98 to 100 is my from what I remember. You have that number, Cindy?
No.
And I ask because if in fact it's 175 is spectators separate from the 175 of exhibitors, then that would be doable in our more normal format.
No, isn't it supposed to be 175 people across the board?
Across the board.
Yes.
Okay.
Like I said, I'll send you the new document.
Well, actually, Lynn, I looked it up while we were here. So there is some gray area about it, I agree. The challenge is it says separate rooms. So arguably, you could say the upper seating in the Bud Center is a separate room from the floor, perhaps. But you were starting to run into issues with separate entrances and things like that. So perhaps you could go as high as 350, although I'd really want to clarify that with health before I said yes for sure. But even with that, you're going to have some challenges because when Doug and I estimated, if you have every animal and a parent, you're over 400 already.
Right, and that may require some timing where the first 100 animals come in at one time and the next 100 animals come in at a different time.
The hard part of that is we have 0 penning at the facility, so.
I understand, and that's why they arrive in their own trailers.
It becomes an issue with the livestock, Lynn. Like, it becomes an issue with being able to take care of these animals. We can't take care of 400 animals by staging them in groups of 100 with 100-degree weather, stand on asphalt. No way to take care of them. This is the whole issue with the Bud Center. It's not that we don't want to do this. We don't have a facility.
What do I say?
You have a much nicer facility than most county fairs in the entire state.
We're not talking about every other county fair, Lynn. We're talking about our county fair, and we don't have a facility.
We don't have any restrooms, and we don't have any food available. We don't have any anything to help the buyers out, to make them comfortable.
We only don't have restrooms if the ranch does not allow us to use restrooms.
Lynn, we're past the public comment part of this.
Yeah, let's work on the public. We've already done the public comment. Let's move on to the executive members, please. The committee members of the sale.
Should we start with each option first and kind of discuss through each of them? And start with maybe the virtual sale that's on our list?
Why don't you go through those, Stephanie?
Let me pull this out. So should we discuss about the virtual sale first? That is one of our options, which we received quite a few emails about that Went group. I have spoke with the lady in depth and have several emails. And honestly, it is not a good option to use them. Here's my reasoning. So if we decide to go with their live auction situation, the problem is we have to put together pictures of the kids and their animals. We as a committee will put their names together and we submit this to them. Okay, depending on how many people that we do, if we do that as a live auction, it's around $4,000 to have them do that. And basically is what they're gonna do then is they're gonna auction the animals off one by one. Then they're going to put together a bill of sale and they're gonna submit it to us as a sale committee. We are then responsible to bill the buyers and get paid. And then we are responsible to get the kids' animals where they need to go. So for instance, if somebody from Wisconsin buys one of these kids' pigs, we have to get it delivered there. Okay, that's not real doable. So we have that as an option. The other option is basically it works exactly the same except for it's a catalog sale. The catalog sale puts, like, let's just say 200 kids. So we again have to submit pictures to them. And yes, it's between $1,500 to $2,000 to do this option. So we submit the pictures, they put it up as all the kids on one page, and we start the bidding at 9 a.m. and it's finished by 5 p.m. So people can go on and they can bid for whichever kid that they want. With this option, we end up with a lot of kids with no sell animals. Once the auction closes, again, they will put together a list of all the people that bought animals. They'll give it to us. We are responsible to collect the money and to take care of where the animals go and how they are going to get there. To me, it's kind of a middleman situation of not well money spent. I don't think it's good timing for us. I don't think it's, I personally do not feel that it's a very good option for us. But that's the research that I've done. And that's on several different live, I guess, like auctions that are our options.
Okay, I can do the Budweiser Event Center. We're limited on people. They're going to be scattered out between 3 layers. It's going to be an auctioneer nightmare to try to keep track of who's bidding on the people. Ringmen are going to struggle. We're going to have ringmen on each level. The biggest concern that I have with the Budweiser Event Center is animal welfare. We're liable to lose some animals during this auction. The facility does not have adequate water or pinning, shade for the animals. If we really believe that a pig can sit in a trailer out in the line waiting to sell when it's 100 degrees outside, we are going to be sadly mistaken, and we're going to have an animal welfare problem. And we do not need that for Larimer County. We represent Larimer County, and this is not a good option for animal welfare in our county. Being that we don't have a facility to pin them, care for them, water them, that's my biggest concern. Also, the night after the sale, we have no place to keep the pigs. We can build some pens, but they don't have any access to anything other than, I don't even know where the pens could be, if they could be in a place with a controlled environment or not. Where are we going to load them out the next morning? And you can ask Don, he's always helped me with load out of pigs and stuff like that. What do you think of the loading out pigs in the BEC?
It depends on how they load them out. I mean, it could be a real pain. It could be. I mean, it's a pain in how we do it right now. It's not very easy.
Right. I mean, the biggest challenge we have with the animals and caring for them is the pigs. The goats we can pin in one pin. And the sheep also. The beef can go over in the rodeo stock pins. So we've got the pigs is the biggest problem. But but they're a big part of our sale. And so we can't just eliminate the pigs. And then also, if we're going to group kids into groups coming to the sale, we can't stop the sale because some kid hasn't showed up yet. That's what worries me about that. We thought hard about trying to figure out how to cycle the kids through the sale, having them come in groups, to have less kids there. These animals, a lot of these pigs and goats and that have not been on trailers. They're not gonna come off well. You know, we start to think a lot about the people that do a lot of jackpots and show every weekend, but a big part of our fair is kids that raise one animal and it's never left their house until it comes to fair. And we've got to think about that kid also, other than just the jackpot kids. Not having official weights is another issue for the BEC. We can't sell animals without official weights. We can't give them to our processors, the buyback program. So we're going to have to figure out how to get official weights. So that's in a nutshell, that's the BEC. I don't know if anybody's got anything else to add between the three options. And then we've got Centennial. They have the facilities to handle the animals. They have the ability to sort the animals after the sale so we can send them to the proper packers. He's got online bidding so we can have anybody bid on the animals at any time. He's willing to work with us. I know he when we talked to him, we were very, very vague because we were just finding out, can you do this? And it was kind of like, well, what do you want? You know, and so we've got a lot of those things to work out yet, but he seemed very accommodating about trying to fit our needs, if they're reasonable, into his sale. And so I think he will be very accommodating. The kids will get paid right away. All the animals will sell, and they will sell, at least they will get market price for the animals. We can still do our add-on program, and we can have the pigs come in that morning before the sale. The goats and sheep would come in the night before. The beef would come in Friday morning. So that would be the order of place for that. So I think that covers it all in a nutshell. Anybody else got anything?
So I just got a question, Doug. Do we still need to get like a bid from Superior Farms for the buyback for the lambs and goats, or how's this going to work?
Yes. Yes, we're still looking at those buyback buyers.
Okay. All right. I'll get a.
If that's the direction we want to go. You know, if we still want to fill the packers, the only packer we've lost is Innovative Foods. All the other packers are in place and still available. We've got Superior that will buy probably the hogs and the sheep.
No.
And
Superior Farms will buy the hogs, or not the hogs, but the lambs and the goats probably.
I mean the lambs and the goats. Yes, the lambs and the goats. And we've got a couple other people interested in the hogs. The hogs are a challenge to get rid of, but we do have a couple people that are interested in them. It's going to be a very low buyback. And then JBS will take all the beef, the buyback beef.
Doug, this
and I got
Marilyn Lassich. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Just really quick question. Are poultry selling in any of these venues other than potentially as a virtual thing? I talked with Cindy yesterday, so I'm confused as to where they fall into this. I know they are a huge challenge for you.
We're going to have to do some kind of virtual thing, outside marketing. I think we can get all of the poultry and rabbits sold, not going through the three options that we have.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Yep.
I appreciate you clarifying that for me.
May I ask one question as well? Just clarity on the
Sure.
the buyback that Donnie was just talking about. Would that be used? Would that be used as Centennial if the kids are going through Centennial? I don't understand that.
The buyers will have a chance to say when the animal is sold, the auctioneer, he did say he asked that question, how would we handle that? And he said, I will stop the auction for a second, say, okay, you just bought this kid's steer. Where do you want it to go? Buyback, Stevens, Valley, what do you want? And they're going to have to make that decision right then. And that is going to be something else we're going to have to work with our buyers and express to them and tell them what's going to happen so they know that they need to know that decision is made right when they buy that animal.
And so those animals would still be being transported by the sale committee as usual.
Correct. Correct.
Could the buyer keep the animal themselves, or would it need to go somewhere different?
The buyer we are going to make this a non-terminal sale. Because of the circumstances we are in, we can't guarantee where these animals are going to go. And so, yes, if somebody wants to buy an animal and take it home, put it in their backyard, that's their prerogative.
Okay,
Thank you for explaining.
since we're letting public back in, I had someone private message me and they want to know about tents that could be set up at the BEC. I mean, I don't agree that we're letting public back in at this point, but since we're doing it, if you guys could answer her question, that'd be great.
What do you mean? What did you say?
He's asking if we could
Some
set up
private-
tents for penning animals at the BEC. In theory, yes, you could do that. There is not a giant footprint of where we could do that. In addition, you have to worry about the heat issues. And you are correct. We have accidentally let public back in. We do need to refrain from public comment at this point, and only board committee members should be discussing at this point. All public comment needs to be ceased.
Okay, yep, we're just trying to be polite to the group here, but it's
understood.
Yep.
The other thing about the like the beef, if you decide to do CLA, we'd have to find somewhere for the beef to go on Friday for 2 days?
We haven't got there yet. I don't know. That's a possibility, yes. So we're gonna have to talk to our packers and see if they'd take them, or if JBS would even, if maybe Centennial let us hold them till Monday, and then JBS could pick them up Monday. And also our packers, we were gonna talk to them, see if possibly we could work it out so they could move Monday's beef into Friday, and then we could bring ours on Monday or something like that.
And Donnie, I talked to Brett Markham, and he's already talking to JBS about picking them up on Friday, so we just haven't heard back yet.
Okay.
Right.
Till we get this.
The only problem you're going to have with them picking them up on Friday is it's not going to get over till late, and all their drivers go home like by 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Their drivers are done.
Well, that we're just going to have to work that out until we get a decision. That's one of those things we can't go ask the question until we know we're going there. And until we get a decision that we're going to Centennial, those questions haven't been asked yet.
Right. I understand that. I'm just saying, bringing them up as questions of what we're going to do if we decide to go there. I mean, we got to have it planned out. If we decide to go to Centennial, we're going to have to figure that out because, I mean, that's one of our bigger deals that if we got to get them, we have to get them somewhere on Friday night. We're going to have to figure that out because
that's where we're working on. That's why we need a decision tonight so we can get to work on figuring out these sales. Is there any more comment from the group?
I would like to say something. As a parent, I hear the frustration for a lot of people on here. When we told our kids there wasn't going to be, there's going to be one pig there at fair, there's going to be one animal. We saw tears too. It kills me. That's the best part is hoping your kid's going to get that grand champion and go to that sale and get that big check and earn the money that they deserve for working their butts off. And, I just like to say we're volunteers. We're here. And, when this first started out, I thought, and we do owe it to the kids. We owe it to the kids to make the best sale we can do. And looking at the different options, even though the Budweiser Event Center sounds amazing and it sounds like home and it sounds like the right place to be and the right thing to do for our kids, we have to weigh in the other options. And sometimes the other options are going to suck. I mean, we're trying our best. And I just want you guys to know that we're not ignoring anybody. We're not trying to make this the worst sale ever. We're trying to put our heart and soul into this. And You know, I just want everybody to know that we're not discontinuing or discrediting anybody's comments or anything. We want the best for our kids just as much as you guys do. So.
Okay. Any other comments? Do we have a motion to move forward with the vote?
I would like to make a motion that we hold our auction this year at Centennial Livestock, and that we need to have a roll call vote.
We have a second?
No, hold on. Make that two separate motions. So maybe do the roll call vote first and then make your second motion, please.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion that this vote is a roll call vote.
I will second that motion.
Okay, do we have, we're gonna have to vote on that then. We're gonna have to do a roll call vote for this vote, Cindy?
Yes. No.
No. Okay. Okay, we have a motion on the floor to have a roll call vote. And we have a second. All in favor, say aye, I guess.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody opposed? Okay, motion passes. It will be a roll call vote. Okay, now let's move on with the second part.
I would like to make a motion that we hold our sale at Centennial Livestock auction house this year, based on all the discussion we've had.
I second that.
Could we clarify when we say sale, are you talking, just to be clear, Wednesday, Friday, or were you talking a private one on Tuesday?
I just said that I make a motion to hold the sale as we've discussed, which would be having the small animals on Wednesday and the cattle on Friday.
Thank you. And who seconded?
Biz.
As always.
Okay, we have a first and a second. So let's move forward with the roll call vote. You want to call out the name, Cindy?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Leslie,
Yes.
Amber,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Russ,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Lauren,
Yes.
Smokey, did you? Stephanie,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Okay. Who did I forget? Biz.
Yes.
Okay. Doug?
Yes.
Okay, that's everybody. Oh, Smokey came back. Did Smokey come back? Okay. That should be everybody, right? Okay, I got it. It sounds like it's
Think so.
unanimous.
Okay, motion passes. The sale will be held at Centennial Livestock. Small animals on Wednesday, beef on Friday.
To do it.
And just to clarify, I'm supposed to get a buyback bid from Superior on the lambs and goats, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I will still be willing to haul them down to Denver if they put a bid in, they win it. I'm willing to haul them down there for nothing. So.
Okay.
And if we need to move cows on Friday, I could probably move the cows for you too.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move on to new business, our photographer. What do we want to do about our photographer with this sale?
I don't think we need a photographer this year. Leslie.
Who was that?
It's always me, Cindy.
I know, but I don't look up and I'm like, who?
Do we have a motion for that?
Do we have any discussion about it?
I have something to say.
Yeah.
So if we don't have a photographer, that basically snuffs out a photographer being in there taking pictures during the fair, right? Is there any possible way that Brittany and them would be willing to find a photographer during the fair? We don't need it for the sale, but I mean, as parents, maybe there's not a parent that can make it because they're only allowing a parent in. I mean, that's they at least can capture some kind of pictures of their child and buy them this year if they can't be there. I think that's important. And I mean, I know it doesn't fall on the fair, but on us, because this is the sale stuff, but because we have her for the sale, she's there during the fair time.
Can I bring something up about the photographer part? If I'm not mistaken, Cindy, this is Stephanie, by the way. Kate actually changed her bid that she gave us and wanted to add another $1,000 to the proposal that she had already sent. So I do think that that's a problem. But if we don't use Kate, why couldn't we find maybe another photographer that's in Larimer County that could take pictures of the kids in the ring? We just won't be setting up the backdrop and taking sale pictures and things like that because they're trying to get the show kind of like moving. Is that a thought maybe or an idea?
Can I put a suggestion out? We in our club have a professional photographer now, and she's like totally awesome and taking pictures for all over the county at all different projects and programs right now. And I think she would love to take those pictures and put them up on her website and have them available for parents.
Would that be a donation basis for us?
I would have to clarify that with her, but she's been doing it all this long for me yeah. She took pictures for the foundation and everything at no charge.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great.
Also have the option of, I know we at one point said we weren't going to use her because she didn't have as much experience, but Becky Carey, she did put a bid in. So there's that other option.
I think we're talking about two different things here. We're talking about the sale and we're talking about the fair.
Okay, so as far as the sale goes and a picture going to the person who buys the pig or the steer every year has a picture. Do we want to try to at least get the kids to get pictures to give to the buyer, something special if they wanted? I mean, what do we want to do for the buyer? Because this is something that we usually do.
I would say we could get a digital picture and get it from the kids.
I think what we do is just when we ask them to send their thank you cards, can you send a picture of yourself with your animal to your buyer when you send your thank you cards? Keep it very simple.
Valerie and I would be willing to do your top buyers if you guys are interested as far as, giving a gift.
Oh, that would be cool.
We could do cutting boards again, just to keep it simple. I know we had talked about doing a different option, but and we still have time. Valerie and I can, we can make anything you guys want. But if you are interested, Valerie and I would be willing to do that for your top buyers. I get that in years past, it's always been a gift as far as the Grand Champion goes, Grand and Reserve. And this year being different because there's no Grand and Reserve. So maybe we could put it back to, top buyers. But that's an option if you guys are interested.
So we need a motion to worry on the photographer. Do we or do we not?
Well, let me ask you this. Do we need to make a motion not to use Kate since
Correct.
we had voted to use her and then we can do something else? Okay, then I'll make a motion that we do not use Kate this year for our sale pictures.
I'll second that. Carrie McGregor.
Thank you.
Okay, it's been first and seconded that we not use Kate for our sale pictures this year. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes. We will not be using Kate for our sale pictures.
So in the meantime, maybe we could look at a couple options of some other people just taking pictures and then have maybe a further discussion about it.
That's a good idea. So I say we table that for right now for the executive committee to figure out. We'll see if we can find somebody. I'm sure we can and get some pictures. Okay. And then we need to make sure one thing that we haven't covered yet tonight is any animal that's going to go to our sale that we're going to classify it and that our auctioneer is going to say this is a Larimer County kid going to our sale. They have to go through the show program that Larimer County offers. We're not going to allow outside shows to bring animals into our sale. They can bring them into the sale barn, but they're not going to be advertised as a Larimer County 4-H kid. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Hey, Doug, I have a question with that. Are we going to have like a list from Extension of, I know for the sheep and the goats and the hogs, that'll be a little bit different, but like of the steers, what your tag numbers show? I mean, I don't think it really matters, but so we just can keep consistency between what shows and what sells, or does that really matter this year?
Yes, it does. Pam, we're working with Pam and Brittany right now on figuring out how to tag all the animals that are going to be going through the show ring.
Okay.
And then we'll make a list from that.
Okay.
That will be our sale list, and we will make a sale bill just like we always do.
Perfect.
So and Cheryl, we're going to be relying on her to help us with working with Danny at the show ring of keeping track of the animals and what they, who's coming in and what's what.
Okay.
Okay, the other thing on new business, we had the Facebook proposal. I don't know what we want to do about that. What is that?
Whether we want to go ahead and look at Facebook Live or just stay with the online from Centennial.
Okay, is there any discussion on that? Okay, do we have a motion to just keep using Centennial's live feed or add another position to that sale and put a Facebook person in there that we're going to have to pay?
Doug, if I might clarify a bit too, that may be something the ranch can help you with. We do have people who we intend to do that with for the shows, so we may be able to carry that over to your sale as well. You might want to table this and we can clarify it shortly, or maybe make it into a motion that we attempt to do that or something like that. But the marketing staff that we're working with is planning on doing a fair amount of live broadcasts, so we may be able to make that work at Centennial.
Okay, why don't we table that for the moment and see, we'll work on that a little bit, find a little bit more out about that. That was kind of a surprise tonight to see what we need to do with that whole thing. We need to work on that. So we'll get some more information and we'll get it back to the executive committee and figure out that one down the road. Do we have anything else we need to cover?
The sale bill. We're not making a sale bill this year, or how's that going to work?
No, we are making a sale bill.
Okay.
We don't have an order. There will not be an order, but there will be names.
It'll have names, parents, so businesses will know who they are, the kids are, what club they're in, but it won't list weights, obviously, because we won't have time to do that. But at least we can get that information out so buyers know what kids will be sold.
Okay.
And all the animals will be weighed.
What about
right before they sell.
So, and it doesn't matter if they're under or overweight at all? No.
No,
Okay. And what about tagging the animal before they come in, like in the trailers as they're coming in or something to the show? So that animal that is showed there is be sure to be the one that actually sales at the sale, and someone doesn't show an animal because they want to, place, first, second, third with that animal, but then they bring in a different animal that they feel that they want to keep that other animal to breed or something.
we're working with Brittany and Pam on that right now on getting the animals tagged as they get showed before or after. We haven't figured that out yet, but those animals will be tagged and will be identified as the animal going to the sale.
Doug, I have a question. What makes an animal eligible for the market classes to be sold?
They have to go through the Larimer County show.
So it doesn't matter, like, I can speak on beef and maybe Biz can clarify this, but anything under, I believe it's 1,050 or 1,100 pounds isn't eligible to usually make sale. Is that still stick with it this year, or is that something different?
It's something different. It's going to be what gets showed at the show this year. And since they're not requiring weight limits, we're gonna have to identify that animal that goes through that show, and then we're gonna sell it.
Thank you for clarifying. I had one more quick question. I think Leslie's motion was to hold the sale at Centennial Livestock, and was that for a special sale on a Tuesday, or is that for a Wednesday and Friday? I didn't understand that part.
It was very clear. It was Wednesday and Friday.
Okay, I apologize. I did not hear that in the motion. I do apologize.
I don't know. Who was asking that question?
Jim Rice.
Oh, okay.
There is a comment that is in our section there that I do think that we should talk about, which is the scale and the weighing process, and why we're not weighing the animals for the show and or at the BEC before they're shown. Maybe we should just kind of address that for a second. I know it's kind of out of our category at the moment.
That's an extension office decision. That's not our decision. And Brittany, is Brittany still on?
Hey, I'm still here. Yeah, I can speak to that. So the reason that the weights are not being taken there at the show is one, for logistics purposes. We are having to move people in and out rather rapidly to be able to, we have to account for every kid in the county being able to show. And some animals, it is harder to get on and off of the scale, and it does take time. It also takes people in which there might be a breach of 6 feet when they are doing that. So it could be difficult, particularly I'm thinking of the pigs, to get them across the scale sometimes. So that was one of the reasons that it was chosen that way. That decision was made, was so that we could have people come in and show by last name, be able to come in, show their animal and leave. And we would reduce that time and or exposure of people given the current health guidelines.
Thank you, Brittany, for clarifying that. So then that is where our sales side of it comes in, is we don't have any weights. So at least Centennial, they can weigh our animals before they're sold.
Is there any other comments in the questions, Stephanie, that you can see that we need to address?
I mean, there's questions, but I think that was one of the bigger ones that people have been calling and asking and going from there about. I think that's a good one, unless somebody else sees, something that I'm not.
Okay. Well, is there any other comments on tonight from our group? If not, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Thank you all for joining tonight. I think it was a productive meeting. I think we accomplished a lot. Hopefully we answered most people's questions.
There are lots of comments in the chat. Chris said that he would try to capture that chat and post it with the recording. So I would hope
Right, we'll look through
members-
some of those and try to respond to some of those questions.
And
Thank
can
you.
I ask one last thing? Brittany, if they say 500 people can be in an area, is there any way that you guys will take back the champion and reserve and let people do that? Or are you guys like, this is it, it's 100%, like our sales, like we're not going to have to worry about that? Or is there a possibility that we can only pray and hope that you guys will put that back in?
At the time, in regard to the Grand and Reserve, we will not be changing that decision. So there, obviously, if we're lifted to 500, we might be able to allow for more people to attend. But at this time, the Grand and Reserve decision is final.
Okay, we had a motion to adjourn. Can we, all in favor of adjourning? Let's get this over with.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Hi.
Okay, so we're adjourning the meeting. Thank you for attending.
Everybody's pissed that there's no fair.